you everyone for joining today. We really appreciate your time to go through this. We are in round 2 of a grant that we were awarded from the Office of Economic Adjustment, which is part of the Department of Defense. The grant is called Supply-Based Resilience and Diversification Program. So today we'll be telling you all about that. The presentation we anticipate will last about 30 to 45 minutes or so, and we hope to leave the rest for questions. And as Ashley said, use the Q&A for that. We'll get those at the end. We will be recording it. Also, the presentation will be on our website for you to look at later, and we'll give you all of the information for the website during your presentation here as well. And the slides will also be available to you also. Okay, so we'll go to the next slide. This is the team of the folks who will be talking with us today and also on our panel. So first of all, Nate Ames is the director of the Center for Design and Manufacturing Excellence. By the way, we go with CDME for short. Again, Center for Design and Manufacturing Excellence. He'll be giving an overview of CDME plus transitioning into the program itself. Mike Gentile is on as well. He's the program manager. I'm in business development. Jason Robinson is senior engineer for CDME. Ashley has already been doing some of the talking, so she'll be sort of running the show today. Also with us is Grant Jones, who is a student in our marketing, a student marketing assistant working for Ashley. And for this presentation in round 2, we're also very happy to be joined by 2 people from GDI Partners. GDI stands for Growth, Development, and Innovation. Tracy Bottinger and Lisa Delp will be here as well. Okay, so going to the next slide. Today's agenda, these are the things we'll be covering. So first of all, we'll go through a brief CDME introduction, which Nate Ames will do for us. Then some more explanation of what is the SBRD program. And SBRD is also an acronym, which stands for Supply-Based Resiliency Diversification Program, and why we're participating in it. Tell you a little bit about our capabilities, both for CDME and GDI Partners. The selection criteria for what this grant is all about, and what the selection will be going through here, how to participate, and then what's next after that, and then we'll have time for questions and answers at the end. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Nate Ames, and he's going to give a few slides, then I will take back over the presentation.
Thank you, Charlie. I'm going to try to go kind of quick. I don't want to detract too much from the important part of this workshop or meeting. I thought what I'd do is give a little background on the center. So we're about 6 years old here at OSU. As Charlie mentioned, CDME stands for the Center for Design and Manufacturing Excellence. What we do as an organization as we try to promote technology into industry, and that technology could come from academia, from the surrounding community, or anywhere in the state of Ohio for that matter. The uniqueness to our model, at least what we've heard is unique, is that we wholly believe that the way you translate technology into industry, it has to be a 2-part conversation. When you move technology forward through prototypes and product development, you also have to move the workforce forward with it. If you end up with a product or a technology and no workforce trained in the skills to actuate it or to deploy it or to work on it, you only have half of the solution in play. The way we've structured the center to be able to address both of those simultaneously, and the most obvious is we are at Ohio State University. So we have upwards of 60,000 undergraduates or 50,000 undergraduates available to us every year to work in the center, to be part of this model that ultimately become part of the workforce you can hire as your business grows. To date, We have about 167 or 168 undergrads that we've impacted, which is kind of an academic phrase, but those 167 students work or have worked for the center. They've gone through training programs with us. They've worked on projects with you industry, mentored by our staff. We have about a 32,000 square foot manufacturing facility. We're located in what was at one point a manufacturing building, built back in the 40s to manufacture saw blades of all things. Inside that facility, we have lots of equipment. The equipment that we specialize in is technology agnostic, but size specific. So what I mean by that, if you kind of stretch your hands out in front of you, make a box that's 3 foot or so square, that's the type of the size of things that we produce in the center. So we want to be bigger than academia, than the traditional research project, and as close to industry scale as we can, again, to move technologies and move people into your organizations. Our team, we have about 24, 25 full-time staff. Collectively, we have over 450 years of experience, which, you do the math on that real quick, it basically means that everybody in the center has at least 10 to 15 years work experience before they came back to OSU to help work to be part of this program. And then our faculty, again, back to the Block O or the university, we're unique in that we don't have to be experts in everything. In some regard, we're experts in manufacturing and product development, which means we're technology generalists. The reason we're able to do that is we have 5,000 experts sitting in the greater university that we can participate with, collaborate with, call on when we need help. And that the apex where all those things come together, the students, the facility, our team, and the faculty, that is the center. That's what it takes to pull technologies into industry. Next slide. So this program is it's a bit of a test, if you will. So there are a lot of programs out in the world today, SBIR, Small Business Innovative Research, STTRs, federal grants. There's lots of different funding mechanisms to help you, small businesses, get your products into industry or into government channels. What we're trying to do here is create a direct pathway for you all, for your products, into the Department of Defense. And in all cases, when you submit an idea, we're going to try to help you. Whether the topic is selected for prototype development or not, we're still going to help you move that technology as far as we can. The emphasis, go ahead and switch to the next slide. The emphasis of this program is that it's easier to sell your product into a market if the prototype that you show the customer aligns with that market. You could have the greatest idea on the planet that is directly applicable to the defense industry, but if it looks like it belongs in a different industry, you're asking the customer to close their eyes and imagine something. And a phrase that I use a lot when we walk people around the center is, the last thing I want our customers to have to do is close their eyes and imagine. We want to give you a prototype, so when you walk into your customer's facility or when you talk to DoD, it's evident and clear to them just by seeing your prototype that it's applicable to the needs they have. And that's what we want to do with this program. We are soliciting ideas from you. These are your technologies, not ours. We're then going to help you turn them into something, prototype or minimally viable product, that's recognizable by a DoD customer. Next slide. Something else that's very unique about this program. So it is, as Charlie mentioned, it is funded by the Department of Defense and Office of Economic Adjustment. We also have a really strong partnership and relationship with GDI. So GDI I think is what completes the story here. And we're going to hear more about what they do and their program. In the center, we're very good at the product development. You know, we're good at moving technologies forward. We're also engineers, so I'll kind of smile and tongue in cheek. We're engineers, which means we're introverts. We're not great at the marketing and communication and figuring out how to get the product into the space. That's where GDI comes in and helps. And that's what they're great at. So we'll hear more about their program, but I wanted to thank them while I had the podium here, and also say that I think the combination of DoD, Ohio State, and GDI, that's part of what is absolutely going to make this program successful. Okay, with that, I'm going to hand back to Charlie and let him talk more about the program and what we're doing.
Okay, thank you, Nate. Yeah, as Nate mentioned, we have a lot of experience, we have a lot of resources, and we have a lot of equipment to help build prototypes here. And that's really a distinction with this grant, is that it's not a traditional funding to go build a prototype. You actually will get a deliverable that is a prototype as part of this. And then along with that funding, along with that deliverable, that prototype, you will then be able to work with GDI partners to pitch that product to the military. So it really does complete the whole circle there of trying to get your product recognized by the Department of Defense. You go to the next slide. Yeah, this is a slide of Will Zell, who is an early client of ours. For his company was Nikola Labs, and we helped him create a prototype, and now his company is it's a very viable company out there, so he's doing well. I wanted to touch on the topic here in the title. It says dual use applications, and basically what we're trying to do is many different products, many different ideas that are out there that are used in the commercial world could potentially also be used in the military. And so if you're working on commercial items, that's exactly the type of things we'd love to see you talk about here and bring to the table. And then we can help you see if there's dual use applications that could, maybe with a slight change or even with no change to your product, you would be able to put that into a military application. Very often that's the case. And that's really one of the big things that the Office of Economic Adjustment really works with companies on, is because they want to not just build just products, but they also want to build communities out there. And communities mean that the companies need to be very viable so that they can support, long-term sustainability in their own company. And that means that they can supply both to the military and to the commercial world to make that happen. Next slide. So there are benefits to you, but there are many benefits to the military as well. And for Ohio, there is quite a bit of military presence. And so this is a great state to be doing this in. Wright-Patterson Air Force and the Air Force Research Laboratory are located right in Dayton. There's also a very large Ohio National Guard presence here. The Army Joint Systems Manufacturing Center is in Ohio, better known as the tank plant up in the Lima area. And there are 2 NASA facilities in Ohio as well. So there's a great presence of and need for technology in Ohio. We will be, when you're able to pitch your product, you'll be pitching to many different parts of the military, but just, in essence, there's a large part of this of Ohio. Ohio also recently was called a defense manufacturing community, receiving a $5 million grant in that regard as well. And that'll be another sort of bellwether part for Ohio and the ability for small businesses to be working with the Department of Defense. Next slide. And just a little bit more about the OEA, so you have background with it. This is sort of their mantra. I don't really want to go into this in detail, but they are making these grants possible, both the military, defense military, manufacturing community, and the SBRD program that we put together. So this organization, as part of the Department of Defense, is being very great to Ohio and to small businesses. Okay, next slide. Nate mentioned a little bit about CDME. This will go into just a little bit more background. And I think when it comes to the point that we want to make here is what I was saying before. We have experience, we have resources, and we have equipment. And when we're doing a project for you or building a prototype for you, we can use a lot of that equipment. We can use a lot of the project experience that we have. Therefore, making really viable products for you to go forward. So for just our facility, about $12 million worth of manufacturing equipment in there, about 28,000 square feet that we're using, and hopefully expanding every year a little bit on that. If you go to the next slide. We've got a lot of experience in working with Department of Defense, but also other national partners. So you can see we've been around for about 5 years, and over 440 engineering projects during that time frame, 150 national partners. Many of those, I would say the majority of that work has been done in some sort of a test bed, proof of concept, prototype, minimal viable product type of approach. Okay, next slide. And what we wanted to do is let you know our real main capabilities. So when we're looking at trying to put together a prototype for you, we really want to try to match what we're good at. And this is a pretty diverse list here that you're looking at for things that we have had quite a bit of experience on. If your technology is not on this list, or maybe an adjacency to this list, please still submit it, because they're out of those 150 projects, we probably have some things that touch on the edges of these sort of things, but also, as Nate was saying, we do have the 5,000 resources at Ohio State and the faculty that we can always tap into as well. So there would be some opportunities there. So when you're submitting your idea, these are the things that are probably in our wheelhouse. But if there's some other things, please let us know, and we'll work with you on our capabilities to see if we can do that. Okay, next slide. At this point, I want to turn it over to Lisa Delp from Triad. She's going to say a few words about that program. But as I was saying before, there's sort of two areas here. One is to be able to build the prototype. The next one is to be able to pitch the prototype, and the pitching the prototype really completes the circle. And we're doing that with GDI partners in order to make that happen, and working on working with them with their Triad program. So Lisa, I'll turn it over to you.
Great, thanks, Charlie. Well, good morning. My partner, Tracy Bettinger, and I are very happy to be with you here today, and really excited to be part of the SBRD program with CDME. And that's just the start of a lot of the acronyms that you're going to hear as you take this journey kind of with the DoD. But we're going to help you demystify that a little bit, help you translate the language of the DoD, and really get to understand what they're looking for, why they're looking for it, and who the people are that you need to connect to. So we work at our core to help you improve communication with the DoD. We want to help promote businesses that have technology that are what we call requirement responsive. So things that the DoD needs to buy for operations for the warfighter to further their activities, or the development of new paths and new programs for them, things like Space Force, which hopefully will end up in Ohio. Our goal is to make sure that you present the right information to the right people in the right format to get the results that you need to move your business forward, help you increase revenue, expand market share, and those kinds of things. So next slide, please. So Triad is a 12-month education and communication program. We're advocates for the companies and for the technologies. We're not lobbyists. We take a neutral stand in all this, really trying to help make sure that the people on the inside, our main contact with DoD are the science and technology scouts from the combatant commands. These men and women are tasked with going out into the community and finding innovations that will help the warfighter and that will help in national security. And so we work with them to bring technologies to them, and we work with the entrepreneurial community and the innovation community to help bring their technologies to the front and into the view of those technology scouts. We work with technologies that are very early in the R&D phase, companies that already have a technology in market and may be looking to expand that market share. We help to transition those technologies out of the lab and into the hands of the warfighter. But the important thing for us is that that technology is solving a problem for the DoD. We're all about the solutions, not as much about the nuts and the bolts of the technology itself. That's for our friends at CDME to work through. We just want to make sure that the idea gets brought to the attention of the DoD. So as I keep saying, one of our principal goals is to really increase that communication. And we want to be able to help you communicate information in a way that is familiar to the DoD. So we use a group of communication tools. We have an information paper, quad chart, a bluff statement, which is an elevator pitch on the outside, and then a pitch deck. The capstone of our program really is those pitch sessions, those opportunities to stand in front of or virtually present in front of representatives from the DoD who are trying to find your technology, your solution, and help you find that right opportunity for demonstrations, for funding, and to access the resources that are within the DoD. Nate mentioned the SBIR program and the STTR program, so small business technology transfer, but there's a lot of funding mechanisms out there that are available, and Tracy and I want to help make sure that you have access to those and that they really do meet your needs. We will be doing a lot of work with CDME. You're going to see a lot of us over the next several weeks, and on October 15th, we'll be hosting a webinar on the Triad program, talking to you more about the technology scouts, about the areas of interest from the DoD, and about how we can work together with you to help bring your technology forward. We're excited to be in this program. We'll be online throughout, and certainly if you have any questions, we'd be happy to address those for you. But with that, I'm going to give it back and just say, you know, again, we're very excited to be here and looking forward to working with you in this exciting time. So thanks very much.
Thank you, Lisa. Appreciate it. I'm going to move now into the who should apply category when we go through this. And by the way, everything that we have up here will be on the website. So just a reminder for any of you who have joined late, all of this will be on the website, as well as the slides that we're presenting and the recording. So who should apply? Small companies and startups are what we are looking for. Submitter must be from Ohio, so we're looking at an Ohio address that you need to have. Your headquarters does not need to be in Ohio, but you have to have an address in Ohio. The invention should be eligible or should already have a U.S. patent. And what we will be doing is not using that IP, but taking that IP that you've created and performing applied engineering on that to complete the MVP. So we are not planning, or not, the purpose here is not to create more intellectual property. That is something that you're already bringing. The inventor needs to be a U.S. citizen or a U.S. permanent resident, since this will be going to the military. And the submitted projects really should try to fit our capabilities as if at all possible. And as I was saying before, if there are any questions about that, please give us a call. We can talk about all that ahead of time. And at the end of the presentation, you'll see more of our contact information on how to do that. But if we can fit those capabilities to result in that right size prototype, then that would be our goal. Okay, next slide. A little bit more on the same topic. I said we would be providing a deliverable before, and that deliverable will be a prototype or minimal viable product. That's what MVP stands for. The size of that product the cost of that project will probably be in the order of $50,000 in labor and take us about 5 months in duration. So those are that's sort of the size we wanted to be focusing on, so we can fit as many of these into the grant as possible. If you have a larger project, we will consider it. It will need to be compelling, but we're looking at about that size for it in order to do it. We will be, wherever possible, we will use the equipment that we have at CDME to help build it, so you wouldn't have to pay extra for equipment fees. But we do ask that you submit a cost share of 10% cash. So if it's a $50,000 labor for us to do it, you would need to submit about $5,000. And then we would also ask that you supply the materials. And we will build the prototype. Okay. So before work begins, also we will work with you on a real scope with deliverables and everything that needs to happen with the timeline and everything that you would need to have in order to get that product out in about five months or so. We will implement the project, and that will be your deliverable for it. So again, you will be supplying all the materials in order to make that happen. The invention does need to have a military application. It can be combat or non-combat use. And we would be very happy to work with you and help you and talk about what those are. So if you have a question about whether your product can have a military application, please call us or contact us, and we can talk through that. By the way, we'll be open for questions all the way through the process of submittal. So anytime you want to call or ask, we can work with you on that sort of thing. All right, next slide. In the first round, we're into round 2 now, but I just wanted to sort of summarize how the first round went. In the first round, there were about 35 small businesses that we worked with. They brought 44 new technologies. So some of those small businesses presented more than one idea. At the end of the day, 7 winners were selected. And of those 7 winners, where they are right now, all of them have gone through a triad event. So they've all had an opportunity now to pitch to the military. In some cases, they were pitching in front of 15 different people from the military, whose job it is, by the way, as a technical staff. So they are there to find technology. That is what they do for the military. So these are the right people to be getting in front of. And all 7 also are working with us now to in the process of getting their projects or in their prototypes built. So that is going on. I will say too that one of the 7 actually got called up in the military for more presentations and more rounds to go through, just because it was such a unique technology and it really caught everybody's eye. So, in that case, we're really seeing some good success. As we go into round 2, we've upgraded some things that we didn't do in round 1. First one was the application, and I'll show you that in a few minutes here, or how to access the application. We think the questions are much more in line with what GDI is going to be asking. And we also think that we've simplified the application for you a little bit from the last time of doing it. There's been some selection process adjustments, so we will be bringing in the selection process to down select and also to final select using the technical scouts this time. And we're obviously very happy to have GDI partnering with us. We did partner with them last time, but when we gave our presentation or our kickoff, we weren't yet working with them. So we brought them in, and this time they'll be with us right from the beginning of the round. So very happy to have all of those things going for us here in round 2. Next slide, please. A quick timeline using our block O's here. So today, September 30th, we're kicking off round 2. You have until November 16th to submit your idea on our online application or submission form. On November 16th, that will be there. Between November 16th and December 15th, we will do a down select process, and the winners will be named, and we will let everybody know if they've won or lost by that point in time. We're again going for about 7 or so winners. And then on the week of January 25th will be the pitch session. So after December 15th, the projects will be started, but also the preparation for being in front of the technical scouts will be starting, working with Triad. So you'll be sort of going in parallel paths, one building your product and the other one getting ready to pitch your product after that time frame. And then the deliverable is usually 5 or so months down the line when we'll have your product done for you. Okay, next slide. This is a similar slide except for more in the word session. So again, everything is due on the 16th of November. Your submissions are due then. You should need to do these in a web-based form. All of these are links here in these slides that take you right to those documents in our website. The way that it will work here this time is that our evaluation team at CD&E will take all the submissions and then select the top 15 to 20 projects. We will get Department of Defense representatives to make final recommendations after that. And then there will be 7 final projects to advance to the MVP development. And this is where you go to the parallel path, one to start building the project and one to start working with the Triad program. Okay. Everybody will be notified by middle of December, whether they won or lost. And the Triad event, again, will be the last week of January. All right, so we can go to the next one. In this slide, this is our website. This is what it looks like. So just scrolling through a little bit, if you go to the website, you will see almost everything we've talked about today. In addition to this will be a link to the application or to the submission form. And as of hopefully tomorrow, you will get a link to the recording of this webinar, as well as the slides that are in this webinar as well. So all of that will be on this website that you see here. And if you go one more slide, this is what the application or submission form will look like. So it will be an online type form. So you will, the fields are given. We've tried to limit the number of words that you can use in here. So it shouldn't take you forever. It's designed to be simple. It's designed to get your idea across very quickly and succinctly. And it should also be a very good preparation for then taking some of the ideas that you're writing here into the Triad program. Additionally, though, you are very welcome to submit larger documents. So if you have any marketing documents or drawings or white papers or whatever it is, you're also very welcome to present those. So there'll be a place in here to do that. You can submit up to 100 megabytes. If you need to go higher than 100 megabytes, that's fine as well. Just call us and we will make sure that it gets into the area that you, or into your submission. And we put a contact here for who to call and make sure that it gets there, Mike Gentile. Okay, final slide is please reach out if you have any questions. Certainly we'll go through some questions and answers right now, but during this whole process, you're very welcome to reach out for questions, concerns, thoughts, whether you think you can find the dual use, whether you think we have the right capabilities. If you have some, technical questions about the submission form, whatever it is, please feel free to reach out to us here. And these are the two names you can start with. But I think it was the second slide where we had all of our pictures. There were also email addresses on those too, if you need to reach out to us. Okay, that covers everything we were going to talk about today. And we're very open to having some questions and answers at this point, Ashley.
So I think if you guys don't mind, I would think I'll read through the questions we have so far and start to answer them. And I guess everybody else that's on the panel, feel free to interrupt me or add more to whatever answer I state. I don't want to be the only one talking, but it might be easier if I just start going down through the questions, if that's okay.
Okay.
So the first question was, if the organization already has a prototype, can this program be used to optimize it, tailor it, or somehow customize it for the specific customer? Absolutely. So that is what we're trying to do. We know that you all, the inventors, entrepreneurs, small businesses, you're going to come in at different levels. So we're expecting to see technologies that are kind of like the flux capacitor. You fell and hit your head, and when you woke up in the middle of the night, you had an idea. That is an acceptable proposal. I have a great idea. This is what I think. There's the other side of the spectrum is we already have a product. We've been selling it into the commercial marketplace for X number of years. Could it be used for defense applications? And you could, like Charlie said, call us. I mean, our intent isn't to create a highly competitive environment. Our intent is to get products into the Department of Defense. This online form is one of the vehicles, but a phone call, we can have a lot of dialogue just via phone calls. If you're the latter, where you already have a product and you've been selling it, absolutely. If the technology is a good fit for DoD and we can help you, I'll simplify or maybe oversimplify it. If we can help you camouflage that solution or that product, let's do it, right? And then the added benefit is getting you integrated into the GDI's program so that you can get in front of the technology scouts at the combatant commands and the research labs so that they all have visibility to your product in its defense form. Next question was, how are the winners selected and what criteria was used? So the first round and the second round, we changed things a little bit. Charlie mentioned the structure of the submission is a little different. Part of that is because we realized that we needed to get more eyes on the proposals earlier. So I guess I'll give you that background to let you know it's a little bit different going forward than it was 3 months ago. What we're doing now is all the submissions will come in. We have there's a list of needs from the combatant commands within the Department of Defense. We're going to rationalize the ideas that come in against what we believe we can help move forward and what DoD has articulated in writing that their needs are. that'll just truncate the list of applications, if you will. And then from there, we're going to put all of those into the hands of tech scouts, research lab employees, Defense Logistics Agency employees, get it in their hands before we do any more down selection. And then the output from, so those people are gonna advise, I guess. They're gonna advise on what technologies and what ideas have a good fit for their program. And then we'll use that input to do the final rack and stack. And out of that final rack and stack is where the center GDI, where we'll select the 7 or 8 to go forward. A bit of semantics maybe, but the question was phrased, how were the winners selected? So I've been working really hard with our internal team to make sure that we don't say winners, because that implies that those that weren't selected were the losers or not winners. Our intent is to get as many technologies into DoD as possible. Some of them we're going to be able to use funding from the Department of Defense to turn into a prototype or MVP. Everybody is going to get some engagement from us and try to find a path forward. It may not look the same, but we don't intend to leave you hanging. We're still working through what that process means a little bit, but the intent is absolutely to create a channel to go to the Department of Defense, whether it's SBIR or STTR or any of their funding streams. We want to help you get there. It's just not every product will get turned into a prototype or MVP. Next question was, everybody understands from the presentation that you all, the company, you need to supply the materials. Can the center still help figure out what those materials are? Yes. So that's an easy answer. As the engineering team, which is largely led by Jason Robinson, as the team works with you on the plan for your MVP or plan for the prototype, part of that planning will be what materials are needed, what form factor they have to come in, quantities. It'll be a conversation between the two of you. One of the reasons that I didn't want to purchase the materials ourselves was we're envisioning that some of these materials you already have, right? You already have a business, you already have somewhere in the back of your shop, you have materials that might be useful for this. There's no reason to spend federal dollars to buy something that you already have in place. And then anything that doesn't already exist, we'll work with you to put a purchase plan together. Next question. I'm a faculty at OSU. Do we need to set up a company? That's right. So, sorry, the question was, I'm a faculty at OSU. Do I need to set up a company at this stage? In round 1, it was advised that we could wait till the results were out. That's right. That's correct. And the same holds true here. So as an individual, you are effectively a sole proprietorship if you wanted to be in the state of Ohio. If you want to roll things out into an LLC or a C Corp or S Corp, that can all happen after the fact, especially if you're at OSU or University of Dayton or anybody in the Ohio community. If you're already domiciled here, you're good for today. If you're calling from Penn State or you're participating from Penn State, then in that case, before we could kick the program off, you would need to create an entity in the state of Ohio. Next question. We already started working on the first iteration of the prototype with CDME, but need additional funding for sure. Does this affect other funding opportunities? Not exactly sure if that, does anybody else on our side, do you have more background on this question?
I think it's based on a previously awarded grant. So they've currently got a grant for a product that we're working on. Yeah, I think the scope of any project that we're currently working on my understanding would be that it could be separated from the scope of the OEA grant, and the OEA grant could develop an MVP based on the OEA grant's written scope.
That's right. Right. Okay. Yeah. And if,
I would keep in mind on that though. That's a good point, but I would keep in mind if the funding source is the same place, that they're not doing duplicate work.
right. Right. That's what I was going to say. I would say when we have the opportunity, we want to leverage every bit of program funding that we can find to make the highest quality product at the lowest cost, right? Conserve taxpayer dollars and get you in front of customers as quickly as possible.
Yeah, and I think in this particular case as well, the funding source for the current scope will have been completed. The work for the current scope will have been completed by the time that round 2 work starts anyway.
Right. Okay, the next question is, if a product needs several capabilities for development, for example, injection molding, electrical design, so on and so on, do we need to submit multiple applications? No. So submit an application for the product or idea, the tools and resources required to turn it into that product. That's what we'll work with you on through CDME and GDI, and whether it's the framing things in the right context for the Department of Defense, or building in all the resources inside the center and with our partners, our university partners, to get your prototype or MVP to the right stage. We'll work all that out with you as things move forward. Can this program help advise on different regulatory hurdles for the product? That's a tough question. So I don't think we can officially do that. I don't mean to sound like I'm throwing legalese out. It's just we're manufacturing and product development people. We're not regulatory advisors. There's entire businesses out there that are built around doing that. If you need help with something that we are working on in the space of cybersecurity, which has regulatory issues and hurdles associated with it, we can definitely connect you with the right people, but it wouldn't necessarily be what we're doing on this program. This program is to get you in front of people that have the funding to carry you to the finish line. You know, we want to get the prototype or MVP into the visible in the right format to the people that can pay for things like a regulatory evaluation. So I don't know if you haven't been through it before, if it's something to do with medicine or biomed, knocking down the regulatory hurdles, that could be a couple $1 million just to knock down the regulatory hurdles, aside from the product development piece. So it's kind of outside of CDME's wheelhouse. Next question, if you're already part of Triad, are we automatically submitted into the applications, or do we need to fill out another application? So yes, if you're already participating with Triad, congratulations, you're working with the right team. You would still need to submit an application to participate with us, because we have limited funds from DoD, so we are going to follow the process that we propose to the Department of Defense. So we said, we're going to spend your money in this way, and this is how we're going to make selections. Part of that is the submission process. Next question, our proposed prototype needs to be tested by some benchtop experiments at different institution, state university. Is subcontracting allowed to share expenses? Possibly. So the devil's in the details. We know we don't have everything in the center. If it's something we can work with another university on, or we can we can be creative. I think that's a great area to have a conversation. Nothing's off the table. We just need to be careful that I don't want to overcommit to spending money in areas that are outside of our wheelhouse, right? So we just need to have a conversation, I suppose. Next question, does the program support software application prototypes? Yes, if we can help. So this is where I think Charlie or Michael Gentile, one of the two, had said earlier, if we don't have the expertise, it doesn't mean that we can't help. It just means that we might have to reach into the university. So I don't want to, not knowing what your software application is, I can't say for certain if we have the right programming expertise or GUI expertise or HMI in-house. You would, when you submit, if it's the right solution, if it looks like a good solution for DoD, we'll find the resources, or we'll try to find the resources to move it forward. Next question, is the rubric from DoD about their needs available publicly? Yes, we will. We'll get that.
I can email that to Annabom.
Okay, yeah, so we can email that to you if you're interested in it. Lisa and Tracy are also going to have a follow-up meeting October 24th?
15th.
October 15th, where they'll go through some of these things, like what is DoD looking for? What do the Tech Scouts do? What do you get out of the GDI and Triad program? And with that conversation, you'll learn more about the needs that DoD presents. Next question, is this first come, first serve type application? No. So we won't review the proposals until the closing date. So if you submit today, it doesn't improve your probability of winning any more than if you submit on the last day it's open. If you submit, so this is where we kind of jest internally, I suppose, but if you submit the day after the window closes, even if it's the greatest idea on the planet, you're not going to get funded. It will have you resubmit for the following round. So make sure you pay attention to the dates and you don't submit after it closes. The next question, does the $50K fee come from the grant, or is that the cost to work with the program? So it's not a fee. So that's a great question. There was a lot of confusion around this in round one. It's Department of Defense is funding CDME and GDI to help you take your product ideas to the Department of Defense. So when we budgeted the program, we estimated that it's going to cost us about $50,000 to build an MVP that would be relevant to DoD. So that money doesn't come from the small business. That's the money that DoD is paying our organization to build the MVP for you, or to upgrade your existing product, or to help you reposition a product that you've had on the back burner for a while for DoD. The only funding that you're responsible for is anything that it would cost to buy the material, the supplies and materials, and the cost share. So the program has a 10% cost share on it, and that's not intended to block anybody. So just, we'll work with you on how to get that covered, how to pay it out, whatever we need to do on timing. This program at the DoD level has a 10% cost share on it. So that's where that number came from. Next question, I'm gonna have to actually skip one here. Next question, can we see the list of 7 ideas that were accepted in round 1? Yeah, we're working on getting those published to our website. So I don't have a date yet, and I guess I'll bury my head in the sand a little bit. We had a significantly more successful program in round 1 than we anticipated. So we weren't quite ready for the success we had, I suppose. I don't know. I know it's an excuse, but I feel a little bit like the people that launch a product right before Christmas and don't think anybody's going to buy it, and then they sell out in 2 days. That's a little bit how round 1 felt. So we are going to get all those ideas out to you. We're not trying to keep them a secret. We're catching up as quick as we can from round 1. I want to go. So we had a question that was corrected.
I'm working with Katrina. You're talking about the one from Katrina?
Yeah.
I'm working with her. She's going to email me or give me her email, and I'll get it out to her.
Okay.
I think she was looking for the rubric too.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, that's what we're working on.
Same as the other questions. So,
Yeah, I got Vivek sent to him. I'm waiting for Katrina's email.
okay.
Yeah. So what Michael was talking about, there was another question about the rubric, but the way these Q&As move, it rolled through the list before I could see the whole thing. Any questions that you have, if we haven't answered them specifically, please don't be afraid to contact anybody. You've got on the screen, you've got Michael and Charlie's emails right now. Through the center's website, or even osu.edu, just the general website for the university, you can get a hold of my email, Jason Robinson's email, Ashley's email. And if you forget who to contact, you can always just send an email to cdme@osu.edu and somebody will respond. But we absolutely do not intend for anybody to submit a proposal in a vacuum. We want to help build your story as best possible, so that whether it goes to prototype or not, we help move you forward and help you find areas for either funding or customers or support in other organizations. Anyway, so that's the last of the questions. I don't know if anybody else has any last minute questions that just haven't popped up yet. Feel free to throw them up in the Q&A and we'll address them. And then if Charlie, Lisa, Jason, if anybody else has any comments they'd like to say, I guess we've got a few minutes left. Now's a good time.
Can you guys hear me? Yeah,
Yes.
there seemed to be some interest from applicants from round 1 who didn't get the funding, to know about feedback on their proposals, or whether they should apply again for round 2. Some of those were answered directly on the Q&A with the text chat, but since we're talking about context, yes, anyone who applied for round 1 and didn't receive funding, if you'd like some guidance on how to improve your application, you can reach out to those of us who are listed on here, the CDME employees specifically. I know Michael Gentile has been taking those himself. I've been taking some of them as well. We can help work with people and try to improve their chances on receiving this, the engineering hours or technician hours from CDME for the second round.
Thanks, Jason.
I'd just add one thing. I think, any companies that are even thinking that they might have a technology that's a fit, this is a great opportunity to evaluate that and just really identify whether there truly is an opportunity there. Sometimes getting the no is the best thing you can get, because it keeps you off a bad path. And for companies that have a technology already in place, that they're already selling to the commercial market, DOD, the federal government in general, they're very interested in these dual purpose technologies. The goal of the SBIR program is to help find a solution, not just for those inside the fence, but also things that are for the public good. So having that opportunity truly does benefit a lot of different folks. And working with the government, selling your technology, selling your product to the government doesn't mean you're going to lose your IP. It doesn't mean you're going to lose control of your technology. So don't let that fear and that misconception hold you back. There is a tremendous amount of money available for the development of technology and for the purchase of new technology. And small businesses are in a terrific position to take advantage of that. With the CDME program, with the Triad program, we can really help you overcome those hurdles. So if this is a thought that you've got, please explore it with us. We're here to help you.
Thank you. So we just had one more question come in. What's the overall goal of the SBRD program, and how does the program address resilience and diversification? How do we know a technology would or could be a fit for DoD? So the last part of the question, that's where, what Lisa and Michael and Charlie, what everybody was saying earlier, just reach out to us and we'll help you. So it's a process to get there. There's not a checklist that we can say this is clearly a fit for DoD. If there was, we wouldn't be necessary. So how does it help address resilience and diversification? That also, when I answer that, it also will answer the overall goal to the SBRD program. So what the DoD has said, and I don't in any way mean to speak for the Department of Defense. So I can only say what they've said kind of in context, I suppose, in the context of me paraphrasing reports and other documents. DoD wants to have a supply base that supports commercial applications as well as defense applications. And that's what Lisa was alluding to. If you look at the portfolio of defense suppliers, a lot of them are defense suppliers. Not all of them are dual use suppliers or defense and commercial suppliers. So the way that we proposed to DoD when this program kicked off, the way we proposed to diversify the supply base was rather than go to existing DoD suppliers and say, give us all the ideas you have for new technologies. We said, let us go to non-defense suppliers and ask them for ideas that might fit national intelligence or national security needs or DoD needs. And by that way, as we bring commercial entities or commercial suppliers into the Department of Defense supply base, we are diversifying the supply base. And as you diversify the supply base and create more dual use applications or more dual use products, you effectively make the supply base more resilient or more hardened, because DoD funding ebbs and flows, right? Commercial funding ebbs and flows. If you only are in one space, you're 100% reliant on that either commercial or defense marketplace ebbing and flowing. Your business will ebb and flow with it. If you can support both at the same time, as one is ebbing, the other is flowing, and vice versa. So it ends up normalizing your business or leveling out your business, and by effect making the defense suppliers, i.e. you, more stable as their money goes up and down, or their funding goes up and down. Okay. So Charlie, do you have anything to close with?
No, just thank you to everybody for attending. And we really look forward to working with you and getting your ideas. Everything should be available tomorrow. We're hoping tomorrow from a recording point of view, et cetera. Everything is pretty much already there on the website if you want to start looking into it. And there are links on the website to GDI partners as well as our emails, et cetera.